Hey guys, it's Troy with another pen mail day. Wanted to show you the latest addition to my collection. Those of you who've followed this channel at all, you know that I like Watermans, and I particularly like antique Watermans. I'd call the 1930s antique. So if you like smaller pens, if you like antique pens, if you like Waterman, then you might want to look at the Lady Patricia. The Patrician is a model I've looked at for a while and I hadn't had in my collection. It's got some marvelous celluloid. I've seen it in several different colors and was just looking at some of the Patricians at the latest pen show, and actually I thought about it, and there was actually one that was a possibility, but instead I went ahead and got the 452 that you may have seen here just recently. So wanted to share with you though something that I got in the mail that I had actually won on eBay for a fairly decent price, what I found to be a decent price, in the $60, $65, $67 range. I'll look it up. But it was in really good condition and it had been restored. You guys have seen me share a lot of pens with you from AntiqueDigger.com, and actually this was on his website. He put up several pens for auction while he was at the Raleigh show, and got to meet Greg again at the Raleigh show and talk to him for a while. He probably didn't even know that I was already also bidding on some of his pens that were on eBay while he was out of town visiting in this area. But won this particular auction. Now, the Patrician came out in the 1930s and was in production up through the 1950s. And it was generally celluloid. And I've seen them. My favorite Patricians have been kind of in this color right here. I thought they were really nice looking, and it was on my eventually to have list. And then I ran across a Patricia. Now, basically, knowing that they were going to try to market to women and have something that would fit into a purse, well, Patrician just was a little too masculine, so they just dropped the N, and they called it, for a lady, a smaller pen, a Lady Patricia. So it's just a name game that went along with a vest style or a vest size pen. So you've got the flat top. This one's been customized with someone's initials on it, and that's fine. That doesn't bother me at all. Then you get a nice small clip. You've got a gold band around the bottom of the cap. And then you've got a nice little nib here, a Waterman's nib. It is a lever filler, and it's got a really nice imprint still on it. So that's what kind of sold it for me, that I knew, number one, it was going to be restored. Number two, it was going to be in good condition. And number three, that imprint just told me that it had been fairly well taken care of. So I went ahead and put in a bid and eventually won this particular pen. So if you're into pocket pens, Waterman has been known for their V-series pens, the 3V, the 52V, and I want to show you some of those by comparison. So here's what it looks like next to a 52V. Size-wise, it's about the same length. How about a 3V? You can see it's very similar to the 3V, and it's almost the same size. And I really like this this moss agate color, but the clip style, the band, and the flat top, very similar. Okay, and the 32V. If you want to look at that by comparison, that's what a 32V looks like, where it's black. It's got the same style, generally, clip, and the same flat top at the top, but there is definitely some differences in the 32V. Now, if you want to compare this to something more modern, Stipula Passaporto, and for a pocket style, the Kaweco Sport. So that gives you an idea of what the Lady Patricia lines up. Now, I had this thing, and I inked it up with this right here from Birmingham Pens. Their Pittsburgh Theater Stage Velvet, which is actually kind of a very dark purplish black, or a blackish purple, but it is a very dark color for purple. And I'll give you a writing sample. Now, here's one of the things. This particular pen I found, and I've been using it yesterday. As soon as I got it, I'm one of the kind, got to ink it up because I knew it was going to have a nice new sack, and it should be in fine working condition, which it was. Everything looked nice, shiny, looked like it was going to write great. And it does for the most part. But what it does do for me, though, I'll show you this. I started to write a letter to somebody. It was a family member. And ink burp. Not once, but twice. And it did that to me last night as I was addressing an envelope. And I was writing, and then went, I was like, really? An ink burp? So I had to start all over again. And then today, when I was writing that letter, I was just using a Rhodia dot pad to write a friend, or actually a relative, a letter. But so it doesn't write bad. Now, one of the things I did notice on this, you got to be really good about holding this pen in the correct fashion, because if you rotate just a little bit one way or just a little bit the other, or a little too high, it's not going to write well at all. Not a bad thing, because that actually makes you write in the proper hold, or the proper grip, which also is not a bad thing, because just yesterday somebody I know and gave a pen wanted a lesson on how to hold a pen properly. So looking here, you got the triangular grip, you got the nib face down, and there is tipping material on the bottom here that has to come in contact with the paper and stay square with the paper. So this is my Waterman Lady Patricia. You actually can get some good line variation out of this. It does lay down a good amount of ink. You can see that's what that ink looks like, that Birmingham ink right there. So you can get some good line variation. But one of the things is, you hold this pen, you rotate it or you cock it just a little bit to the side, and you're not gonna. You can be writing along, and then suddenly you're not. You're writing a very thin line, or you're writing a very horrible line, and that's one of the things I've noticed. Sideways, it doesn't do too bad. Vertical, not bad. Upward strokes, not bad. And it's actually fairly smooth. And it will keep up with you to an extent. I was kind of hoping to show you what one of those ink burps looks like, because this particular pen, like I said, gave me a couple of ink burps. But, and if you lift up just a little bit, it starts to write thinner and thinner. But if you hold it at the right angle, you actually get a really good, you get a very nice thick, full line with it. Lady Patricia. So compare this to this right here, to this right here, and to this up here, and you actually get a pretty good line. See, you roll it over here, roll it over there. I found that this pen was just a little more sensitive than some of the others. Now, when I'm writing, and I've received criticism for this from some people, but sometimes when I'm doing curves like that, they think that I'm really rolling it, and I do just a hair. When I'm doing a downward stroke, I do roll it just a little bit at that point. In my humble, yet as I consider it, most accurate opinion, since you've got tipping material, in theory, in the size of a ball or the shape of a ball, it should be able to keep up with you when you do that, even if you do roll it just a little bit. But I understand the whole concept is to keep it square to the paper, or perpendicular, so to speak. Alright, well anyway, it didn't burp on me this time. Figures, it burps in the middle of a letter. But anyway, it's a beautiful pen. Now granted, on this one, the barrel seems a little darker and a little, perhaps, maybe discolored, but it's sure polished up nice. But I do like the cap color quite a bit, and I'm still going to keep an eye out for a full-size Patrician. But here it is. If you like vest pens or pocket pens or purse pens, and you like antique Watermans, it may be worth looking into. From the 1930s, a nice celluloid Lady Patrician.